So here's some running backs that they're not going to be a value of your team anymore. So here's a few running backs you should drop off your roster heading into Week 11. The first guy is DJ Dallas of the Seattle Seahawks. Dallas, he had a decent 2-week run as the starter over there in Seattle, but yesterday that was taken by Alex Collins. So Dallas, he's finished. He only had 2 carries, 8 yards, and 2 catches for 23 yards. So Dallas, like I said, he gave you good production. But now Collins looks like the starter, and Carson reports are coming out. He's going to play this Thursday versus Arizona. So it's time to cut Dallas. He's the 4th or 5th guy over there now in Seattle. The next guy is Devin Singletary. If you watch the videos each and every week, he's a guy I say drop him. He's not going to do anything. And once again, Singletary did nothing. 4 carries for 15 yards, 5 targets. He caught one of them for -5 yards. He's just not getting the job done. The Bills barely run the football. And if they do, it's Josh Allen out of the backfield taking it himself. Singletary still owned in 85% of leagues. I think this is the week people finally listen and finally get rid of him, with the Bills going on bye in Week 11. And now with Singletary in his last 7 out of 8 fantasy games, only hitting double digits once. So it's time to get rid of him. Right now, Zach Moss, he's the man over there in the backfield for the Buffalo Bills. The next guy is Devonta Freeman at the New York Giants. We saw him go on IR, and honestly, to me, he's not even worth the IR stash. He's still owned in 36% of fantasy leagues. Wayne Gallman, the last 4 weeks, he's looked better than Freeman anyway, and the Giants have won 2 in a row now. With Gallman back there in the backfield, they go on bye in Week 11, so if he's holding a roster spot or your IR spot, it's time to cut him. There's no need to hold on to Freeman. Goldman's the better back, and that's that. The next guy is Justin Jackson of the Los Angeles Chargers. Jackson, he's going to be out a few weeks. He's not worth the IR spot either, is Jackson. He's still owned in 40% of leagues, but it's time to cut him. Calvin Ballage, he looks better than Jackson anyway between the tackles. Reports are coming out. Eckler's returning in Week 12. And so Jackson, he's not going to have a role again. He's on IR. So yeah, he's the easy guy to go out there and cut. So get rid of him. And the 5th and final guy is Philip Lindsay of the Denver Broncos. Lindsay, he came back a few weeks ago. He looked decent, but now the last 2 games he's done nothing. Is Philip Lindsay with a combined 3 fantasy points in his last 2 games in a good matchup in Atlanta in Week 9. 8 carries, 23 yards. And 3 targets for nothing. And then this week versus Vegas, 4 carries, 2 rushes, and 1 target. Lindsay, he's owned in 69% of fantasy leagues, but he's just not getting the job done. Melvin Gordon, he had the bigger workload, out touching him by 8 carries. But the game script, it was bad as well for Denver. But both these running backs, I just can't trust them. So cut Lindsay. Gordon, you're still going to hold on to because he's getting the carries. And they're paying him money. They're not just going to sit him on the bench unless he really don't perform. So that's a few running backs you should drop heading into Week 11.